So this is the start of the first race. And we have now 33 minutes for the girls start. So all the girls start thinking on moving on. It's 33 minutes to the start. 33 minutes, 33 minutos para a primeira largada. Ok? 33 minutos para a primeira largada do C1, do seu SS1 feminino. Slowly, and as we approach the buoy, we're gonna stop, okay? We're gonna stop as we approach the buoys, okay? I'm gonna tell you when to stop, okay? That's very good. The girls on the inside, you can go a little bit more to the front. And the girls on the very top, close to the motorboats, Pedro, tell them to stop. This side must stop. Yeah, the inside, you can go a little bit more to the front. Stop everybody slowly, slowly. Yeah, okay, we still have 45 seconds. Okay, stop. Okay. That boat with the yellow tip, barco amarelo e branco, para trás. Okay, ready, go! And this was the start of the girls' race, and I remember on this race we have Tanil Hatton, Ailey Nixon, Michelle Ray, Bridget Hartley. Those are some of the main contenders on this race for today. Over 47 paddlers from all over the world in the girls' race. This is a new record. E assim foi dada a largada desta prova, que são 19 km, 19 km to the finish line. E no fear. And now we have the guys race. Pedro, on the guys race, we need this lifeguard boat to be outside the buoys. Precisamos do barco salva-vidas ficasse do lado fora dessa boia de Viana. Guys, we have, as you know, we have to start 13 minutes after the girls, so we have exactly now 12 minutes. We're gonna do the same procedure on a wider basis, so all those guys that are there need to go around. Todos esses barcos que estão aí têm que ir para trás e alinhar onde eu estou. You need to come back and go where I am in the yellow shirt, okay? This is me here in the yellow shirt. This is your pre-alignment. This is where you need to go, ok? Pessoal, vamos fazer o pré-alinhamento entre as duas boias. O pré-alinhamento é feito entre onde eu estou de camisola amarela e o barco com a camisola amarela. So you need to pre-align in between yellow and yellow. Pedro, mais para fora. Pedro, para fora. We still have 10 minutes, so stay behind the line. Everybody behind that line. You're moving way too forward. Vitor, Mário, para trás. Dar a volta, turn around. You need to stay behind the motorboat, okay? Stay behind the motorboat. And we have the girls' race. You see, it's still a tight pack on these first kilometers. That's to be expected. There's still room for wash hanging and a little bit of tactics before you hit the runs. And by the time you hit the runs, then it's going to be every human on their own, and each one is going to choose their strategy. There is no athlete control, okay? The only athlete control is the gate and the gate is between the two. A lot of time before I call you guys, so take it easy, stay there, do a good warm-up. It's still gonna be a good lead up. Everybody on the other side, stop paddling. Stop paddling. Pedro, turn around and go in front. Still 3 minutes, so guys on the end, stop paddling. Pedro, vai em frente, manda para trás. Stop paddling. Stop paddling. I'm not going to start, guys, so this is sad that you're doing that. So stop paddling. Otherwise, Pedro is going to start taking numbers. Stop paddling. Pedro, again, this way in front of them, and then they're going to start with a boat in front of you. Stop paddling, ok? Parar de remar, que eu não vou dar a largada, vocês vão largar com as ondas em frente. Okay? Okay, guys, you turn around and go again because I'm not going to start. Okay, you can turn around and go again because I'm not going to start if you are not in the lineup. That boat on the top corner behind. Stop paddling. Okay? Stop paddling. Jasper, stop paddling. Okay, I can see all of you. So stop paddling. Stop paddling, guys. Stop paddling. Okay. Ready, go! E foi dada então aqui a largada. First on the men's start, a big race. Close to 220 paddlers to do this 19-kilometer course. Cerca de 210 atletas dos 5 continentes para esta largada. E já temos aqui também os maiores nomes desta modalidade. The biggest names in this sport are here. So we have Sean Rice, Kenny Rice, Hank McGregor, Jasper Mock, David Mock. So there is a really, really strong field of people for this. And now we have 10 minutes to the last start. 10 minutos para a última largada, que será o SS2.
And on screen, we'll zoom in to the front of the women's race and try and give you a few positions there. So at the front here, Hayley Nixon leading for now. Only just though from Angie Leroux from France. Tennille Hatton just inside Hayley Nixon, and tucked in the back there Bridget Hartley. Behind Bridget from Spain is Asaba, and Verge is also from Spain. A little bit further back, actually Verge maybe French actually, Lexano from Spain. Laurie, one of the best juniors out there from last year in the women's field. So Laurie was first at the Junior World Championships last year. And then we go back through the field. You can spot your friends as you go back there, and we'll zoom out and hopefully come into a view of the men's race as they approach the harbour wall. At the front of the men's race, we're still looking at Rice, Mocha, Heno, Kenny Wallace there, Victor from France, another Heno, Palitza, Noah Palitza, under 23, Jupe Van Backel we saw, Rodriguez from Spain. But all the big players are still in there. As we zoom in, you can see the gaps are bigger. So leading, Hank McGregor, Rice, Nick Naughton in there, under 23. And they are approaching the end of the harbour wall. I'd expect them, unlike the women, who've kept fairly tight into the coast. Listening to the men earlier, they were talking about moving out into the waves, so moving out about maybe as much as 1,000 meters from the coast. You can see the women pretty much in a line following the coastline there, and way on down the coast there you have the leaders in the OC1, and it is Piana, the only woman in the race, leading from Basada, and bringing up the rear there Chris Blacker from Great Britain. Not a lot of ocean racing pedigree in Great Britain. I think I can get away with saying that. But the interesting thing, and the way the starts have been done here, is that the men started exactly 13 minutes after the women. The reason for that being that historically it's taken the women 13 minutes longer than the men to finish. So there's actually a prize for the first person to cross the line, be them a man or a woman. So zoom in on the women's field again. And Hayley Nixon ahead of the French, Angie Leroux, Tennille Hatton and Bridget Hartley. They're the front four as of now, and the men just coming round the harbour wall. Try and zoom in. If anyone gets seasick with me moving the screen around, just give me a shout. So it's McGregor from Mocha, Nick Naughton there, David Mocha, Gordon Harbrecht, one of the best Europeans at the World Championships last year. Heno, the other one, I think they were 8th and 9th respectively. Kenny Wallace, bit of a year off for Kenny. Not done as much training as before. Skipped the Sprint World Championships this year, but still hoping to go to Tokyo. So there's your list to the right. McGregor leads from Jasper Mocha, Nick Naughton, Gordon Harbrecht, David Mocha, Kenny Rice, Heno, Kenny Wallace, Medina from Spain, Fenn, under 23 from South Africa, the second Heno, and then as we move down, Noah Palitza, the under 23, Jupe Van Backel from the Netherlands, and so we move back down the list. Have a quick scroll down, see if you can see your friends on there. Scroll down, you can see just how many people there are in this race. One of the biggest fields we've seen. This is the 10th edition of the Nelo Summer Challenge. Let's just scroll out and get an overview of where everyone is. So the women's field splitting up. Men's field still together, as is expected after just covering the flat water section on the river. The River Limia, where there was a Marathon World Cup held earlier this year. And of course, next weekend, Portugal host the Marathon World Championships just down the road in Braga. So keep scrolling down the men's list, and so it goes on and on. Some old timers here, Brian Longley in the 70 to 74 category, but even he's not the oldest. We have Paul Chulupski in the 80 plus, which isn't bad going, I'd say. So let's get down to the women's field, and there's the women. Current leader, Hayley Nixon from Tennille Hatton, Angie LaRue, Bridget Hartley, Verge, Michelle Ray. She's moving up the field. She was quite far back on the flat section earlier. And moving down to the lesser known Sarah Raphael from Portugal there, probably the best Portuguese in the race. Would have probably preferred it to be rougher. So you can see on screen Nixon there at the front, Hatton right with her, Angie LaRue right with her. So the men already beginning to catch the tail enders in the women's race. We'll zoom in on the men. Just to the back of the women's field there. Davies is going to sense a few people breathing down her neck anytime soon. So mainly the big players are here. We're just missing Corey Hill and Jeremy Cotter really in the and Austin Kiefer, all top 10 last year at the World Championships, and Rachel Clark and Michelle Byrne. Michelle Byrne second, Rachel fifth at the Worlds last year, and they're really the only ones who are missing. It's a great field here. Some moving on, like McGregor and Mocha, to the Marathon Championships next week. Bridget Hartley doing the same. But this week, it's all about the Nelo Summer Challenge. One of the best events in the calendar, so well organised. Party atmosphere for the week we're here. We've been here since Monday. Shuttle buses up to the top of the course. I run down the course pretty much every day you're here. And it's no surprise that it's one of the popular events of the year. A great team organising it. Scroll back to the top of the men's just so we can keep a tab on them. So Naughton in shot, McGregor behind him now. So Nick Naughton, under 23, leading for now. Jasper Mocker just behind him. Gordon Harbrecht still holding his own. Kenny Rice, under 23 world champion, and probably about 4th, 5th overall last year. Heno, under 23 also. Esteban Medina. Joshua Fenn, also under 23. So some big players and some young upstarts coming through. Let's get a check on some names if I can get the password right for my own computer. So in the men's race, from last year we had Sean Rice 4th in the World Championships last year, Gordon Harbrecht 9th, Nicholas Lambert top European in 8th place, Jasper Mocker was 3rd, Esteban Medina 10th, Daniel Sanchez 16th, Benoit Leroux 13th, Oscar Chulupski ever present in 11th at the World Championships last year. So I scroll out and see just how much progress they're making. Tail enders in the women's race, just at the back there. And still all very tightly bunched. It will most certainly spread out later on. but all the big names still there. We'll scroll out, come down to the front of the women's field. So the bottom of your picture there, that's the three OC1s currently being led by Piana. The only female, Besada from Spain just behind. So Piana from France, Besada from Spain, and Blacker from Great Britain. At the front of the women's race, we'll zoom in a little, and we've got Hayley Nixon from Angie Leroux, from Tennille Hatton, and Bridget Hartley, as it was 5 minutes ago. Berge there. Michelle Herrey is moving up through the field very nicely as the waves get bigger. Spaniard, Asaba. Chloe Bunnett, now racing for Spain. I'm going to claim her as British though, seeing she lived in Bournemouth when I first met her. And Laurie, junior world champion from last year. Just finding it a bit difficult to hang in there with the big guns for now. Maggie Hogan, all the way from the States, Olympian. And then back through the field. Little group here with Sarah Raphael from Portugal. You can spot the names. So no change at the front of the men's race, but you can see just how tight it is there. Zooming in, the gap's beginning to open up. We'll be able to spot the individuals quite nicely now. So Nick Naughton currently leads from Hank McGregor. In third place, Jasper Mocker. Fourth place, David Mocker. No, third is David Mocker. Fourth, Jasper Mocker. Number 29, that's the tail ender in the women's race. Kenny Rice there, Gordon Harbrecht, Kenny Wallace, and Medina from Spain. Hanno from France, alongside his brother. Joshua Faird at the back there. Noah Polizza, the under-23s, filling the front of this. Schlatter from Spain there. He was one of the people I was given a heads up on as one of the possibles. David Schlatter. And so, Juke Van Backel, as we go back through the field, Benoit Leroux, James Fitzsimmons from Spain, Nacho Soler, also from Spain, Sanchez Viloria, Spain again, Rodriguez from Spain. Good group of Spaniards there, all hanging in there together. And pick out whoever you like from the pack. We'll scroll in and have a quick look down as the women's field. The spread getting slightly larger now, but a little way out in front. Hayley Nixon, world champion of course, from Hong Kong last year. Very flat race there. Angie Leroux, formerly Angie Mooden, reputed to be very good in the waves. Tennille Hatton in third. Only arrived last night, to be fair to her. It's going to be a tough day unless she thrives on a bit of adrenaline. Bridget Hartley, world medalist last weekend, K1000 metre, so she's strong at the moment. We come back to the Spaniards, Asaba, Michelle Herrey, quite close to the coastline there. Chloe Bunnett will be very pleased with how she's positioned at the moment. Maggie Hogan beginning to fall back just a little. Laurie, junior world champion, also just losing touch with the big guns at the front. So we scroll out again and come to the OC1s just to give you a recap on them. Moving down the coastline. We have got breaking away now, Piana from Basada and Blacker. So that race looks like it's following a fairly predictable pattern. And these girls will be able to see the OC1s in the distance. And we'll just scroll out, give you an overview of the whole course. So top of the screen, you can see the start there. And we're currently past the 1/3 mark with the women. OC1's about halfway, and down here we have the finish on Afia Beach, currently filled with sunbathers. A little section marked off for the finish. They have to turn into the beach from a buoy that will be positioned around where the cursor is there, straight into the beach, out of the boats, run up and under the arch. So I've just been shown how to use the TrackTrack website, and way more information available to you now. You see the athletes moving down the coast. Those front 3 boats are the OC1s, women just behind, and the men closing them down fairly rapidly. We'll zoom in to the front of the women's race, and while we do that, I will scroll down to the women's race. I'll try to at least. Scroll down to the women's race. Hayley Nixon from Angie Mooden to Neil Hatton. Verge from Spain there. Couple of minutes, or a minute and a bit behind. Michelle Ray now moved up to 6th place. Another 50 meters behind her. And chosen to go. You can see they're very close to the coastline. So all the information they told me about being 1,000 meters or so off the coastline, the conditions are obviously different to how they thought they would be. So it's Nixon from LaRue, from Hatton, from Hartley, from Verge, from Iray, Asaba, Bunnett still in there. Ahead of some big names, Maggie Hogan there, Laurie, and Lee, Marty, and Laxano. So as we scroll down the women's list, the positions as they stand: Nixon, LaRue, Hatton, Hartley, Verge, Iray, Asaba, Bunnett, Hogan, Laurie, Marty, Lee, Laxano, Lisa, Sarah Raphael, Seralta, Stroman, Shout, Molem, Wood, Kemp, and now we're looking at 1.5 kilometers down. So you can see just how good those front runners are. And as we move back down, you can see the rear end of the women's race has now virtually been caught by front of the men. Oh, we're still here's the front of the men. McGregor, Naughton. So McGregor's got back on terms with Nick Naughton there, and they are going to come through the women's race fairly shortly. So McGregor from Naughton, from Mocha again. So David and Jasper spent years fighting each other side by side. Gordon Harbrecht doing very well still. Kenny Rice, Esteban Medina, Heno from France staying close to his brother. And then as we come back down, Joshua Feng, Kenny Wallace, Noah Politza, Slatter from Spain, and the French at the back there. So we'll scroll down to the men's race and get the positions, the relative positions on the men's race. And there we go. So McGregor has almost a 20-meter out here that probably amounts to 2 waves lead from Nick Naughton. David Mocha holding off his younger brother, Gordon Harbrecht, first European. Kenny Rice just behind. Medina from Spain, 250 meters almost a minute behind there. You can see the average speeds on the right hand side of the screen, 18 kilometers an hour, 19, 20 up there for McGregor. You can see just how fast you can go when you use the power of the ocean. Most of these paddlers wouldn't be able to reach those sort of speeds without assistance. And we'll scroll out from the race and just get an overview again of just where we are. OC1s heading towards the mouth of the river up here at Esposendi. The women just crossing that 10k line, so halfway for them. Pretty much everyone is past the 5k and 15k is the next target for the OC1s. So zooming in, let's get back to the front of the women's race. And things are closing up just a little, especially for the small group behind the front two. Hayley Nixon leading as she was, so that's the 10k line. Angie LaRue just behind her. Verge and Hatton side by side. Hartley just hanging on to them. Asaba, first of the Spaniards. Iray falling back just a little now. Chloe Bunnett still in the mix. We'll get the distances for you as I scroll down to the women's race. It's a long way down to the women's race. So there's the women's race. You can see Hayley Nixon leads by about 60 metres from Angie LaRue, who's 100 metres ahead of Tennille Hatton. So those gaps are opening up. Hatton and Verge from Spain pretty much side by side. Another 50 metres or so back, Bridget Hartley, and 100 metres behind her, Asaba. Another 100 back to Array, couple of 100 then back to Bunnett. So the gaps are opening up. So Nixon leads from LaRue, from Hatton, Hartley, yet to cross that 10k line. Verge from Spain on her own. Then it's Array tucked close in to the coast. Asaba from Spain just outside her and about 50, 60 metres behind. And we will make our way back to the men's race. Just been joined by Andre. And look at the start. Andre, the men possibly not as well behaved as
no, the ladies were setting up the example. Men, they were being a little bit more out of line, but I think in the end it all went the best direction. So
unusual and very unexpected, I'm sure.
Yeah. So what's happening? Tell me a little bit. I know that you've been talking to everybody, but been trying to drive and check track at the same time. That's completely illegal on most countries in the world.
It's interesting actually. The OC1s were off first, 2 men, 1 woman, and the woman is taking it to both the guys there. So
yeah,
she's
Olivia,
leading.
She's one of the best SUP paddlers in the world. What kind of makes it?
And she's taken to the OC1 fairly comfortably.
Yeah.
The women, pretty much a wash hanging race out the harbour as you'd expect. Same for the men really, and then it's opened up since we've got to the ocean. None of them moved out too far beyond the wall, and which they said they were going to. So conditions are clearly different from the 2 practice days. And I think interestingly, David Mocker has just hit the front of the men's race.
Yeah, there are runs, and I would say a guy like David would still be good enough technically wise to take advantage. And as you can see also in the ladies race, it's still, I think, a good day for the mix of being a strong paddler and a good surfer. So being only a good surfer would probably not do the trick today, but for sure someone that can do a little bit of both and will be. So yeah.
It's interesting. I've done the two practice days, and the course breaks down into the 3 sort of 5K segments, and each segment is different with the waves. You'll know more about the conditions out there than I do, but it gets very technical in that middle section, and it's starting to show in the women's race here now. They come past the 10K. Nixon and Angie LaRue, who we thought would be good if the conditions were technical, have broken away quite significantly now from Hatton. Behind her, Hartley is starting to struggle.
The window of opportunity for Tenille and Bridget will come around the 15K mark as the wind starts fading down. As you know, the last 4 to 5Ks are going to be grinding. So probably on that section they can try and keep up. But Ailey has been winning in all kind of conditions lately, so it's probably going to be hard. But let's see how much Angie can keep her.
It's interesting that you hear them talk about each other, and you hear the chit chat from the surf ski field, or the surf ski public, if you like, and they're always saying who's good in the rough and who's good in the flat, and she would never have won if it was rough last year, and people like Hayley Nixon, they always filter to the front.
Yeah,
there is no magic to it. They are just good at what they do.
And in the men's race, I think it's the only name that comes up a little bit as a surprise to me, and let's consider that everything is working in terms of GPS. Not like Hong Kong, then we suddenly have someone that we are not expecting. Is Nick Naughton, that is also up there with the big names. He's of course very good
he's been in the surf ski scene for a long time, and he's got under 23 medals before, I think, in surf ski. But if you remember last year in Peter Maritzburg, he pretty much paddled around on his own, didn't he?
He's a strong
paddler
from Cape Town, so he must be well.
He's used to a bit of wind if you're in Cape Town. Yeah, McGregor fading back to 3rd at the moment, but maybe not the only surprise. You got Esteban Medina up there in 7th, and he's only 350 meters behind.
Yeah, that's.
Hemwa, he has taken the outside route. He's considerably further out than the others. You can see on screen there. The two Henos together, and they're both out there under 23 in senior. So bit of a sibling rivalry going on there.
Yeah.
It's so strange. You get that all the time, don't you? All the Spaniards are grouped together.
I think people
they gravitate to who they want to beat.
Kenny was saying yesterday, it's the race within the race.
Yeah.
It's these people that kind of then group each other, and if one goes slightly to the right and another slightly to the left, they still know each other, and they go like, okay, I'm going to follow him.
Yeah.
Probably he knows the way. And as I can see also, we can see Kenny is a little bit far behind at 16th, so he must be struggling a bit with the conditions. Oscar down to 20, still beating Herman, so I'm sure he will be happy with that.
Oscar's still in first place. There are just 19 other people
that were luckier.
That were luckier than him. And
temos o primeiro português na 23ª posição, João Santos, em 23ª posição, com o David Fernandes na 24ª. So in the Portuguese, it's the same. It's number 23 and 24, and they are just 10 meters from each other.
It always works out that way. We're at the front of the women's race now as well, and things are changing quite dramatically, really. Hayley Nixon has now got 300 meters pretty much on everyone else.
Yeah, I think now they're hitting that place where whoever has the power and the drive will pull away, because the runs will fade.
You're dead right, because Hartley's come up. She's overtaken LaRue, who was in second place for so long in the technical section. Now it's just getting hard work.
Yeah.
Iray further back, 500 meters further back in 6th there.
Yeah.
And
I think Amaya from Spain, that's currently sitting on the 7th position. I would say she would come up as well, a couple of places, because she's going to close. She's going to close fast on the.
But I'm going to go big up for Chloe Bunnett in 8th position as well, because. Yeah, she's grew up in England. She's South African, but when I first met her in the surf ski world, at which time she was nowhere near 8th in this race.
Yeah.
She has moved to Spain. She's been in the Spanish team for a while and just getting better and better.
No, and the differences are getting closer and closer.
Yeah,
I would say that now
absolutely.
that we are pretty much 9Ks into the race, we still have like the top field within 1,000 meters from each other. But we know that these 1,000 meters do not always consider routes and the way they go and
Yeah.
everything. So it's still a pretty open race, and it's great to see the girls field, building up to what it is right now, and that's
It's getting pretty tough with the track and the cursor here to separate the men and the women now.
No, yeah,
But,
they're gonna
start overlapping. It's going to get
they're gonna
increasingly
start
difficult.
overlapping. Let's remind
But-
everybody listening at home that there is a special
I-
prize money for
First man
First-
or woman home.
first boat to touch
Yeah.
the land today.
What's your predictions? I mean, Hayley Nixon looks like she's
Hayley
got a fair
Nixon,
lead there.
She got it yesterday, but the guys are moving fast now. You have David. No matter what the wind looks like, he's still traveling at 17.5 kilometers per hour
Yeah.
as we speak. So the runs must be
you
there.
say you're looking at that, and I'm looking at the women, and we're looking at 15 top. They're topping out around 15, 16.
Yeah, we just have Nick Norton at 19.7 right now. So they're going to close down. I think it's going to be very, very, very interesting.
Just to put that in context for those people who don't do surf ski, what do you have any idea what 1,000 meter, 330,000 meter speed is
So
in terms of kilometers an hour?
330 is 17 kilometers per hour.
Okay, so your best paddler in the world over 1,000 meters is doing 17 kilometers an hour. We're just scrolling down to the top of the men's list here, and we're looking at plenty of people there or thereabouts after and nearly 45 minutes of paddling.
And
And
we have Mokke and Nick Norton, both from the same club, both from the same town in South Africa, leading now. But McGregor is just 100 meters, and knowing Hank, being the first time he races this course, we all know what probably he's doing. He's sitting down, he's saving as much as he can, and he's gonna go when he sees the finish line. He's gonna try and get those 100 meters, and the runs here are not enough for someone to
hold him off.
hold him off, because this is going to be a little bit like Hong Kong. These last
You saw him in Hong Kong. They
5Ks.
came around what they call the kissing whales there,
Yeah,
didn't they? And the
and
water was
then-
flat, and it was just brutal to the finish. And he was held off, obviously, into second place
by
but,
Corey.
Corey Hill, who's won a couple of times now. So it was, but there they are. They're all mixing in with the tail end of the women's field now. You got Mokke there, McGregor, Norton side by side with Mokke. In fact, he's just taken the lead by 2 meters there. So he's just got a nice little wave. McGregor a few meters closer than he was a couple of minutes ago. Kenny Rice 100 meters down on McGregor. And just to our right in the commentary box here, Andre, we can see the other stone pier up there, which is what, 500 meters away?
Yeah.
And
So I think
from there, there's very little.
no, there's very little from the river mouth. I would say as they hit the river mouth, and that is around the 16,
Let's
17
Try and
kilometer
get
mark.
you a shot
Then
of
it's going
the
to be.
coastline
So
there.
we have Nick Norton as the
So-
current leader. We have Hank still at 95 meters. We have Kenny Rice 180 meters to the leader, and we have Jasper 200 meters together with the first Europeans. That's Gordon and Valentin Henault from France, Esteban Medina. So the top 3 Europeans are now up there with both Henaults, Victor and Hector, 7 and 8, and Esteban Medina in 9th, and Noé Pelliza also from France in 10th. So amazing to see 5 Europeans in the top 10.
That wouldn't have happened. When was the first one of these? 10 years ago.
Yeah, that-
And the Europeans were a joke back then. It was.
if I remember well, the first European was out of the top 20, and in
Yeah.
Hong Kong for sure out of the
Yeah.
top 10 as well. It was probably Annick Laus, for example,
no,
in Tahiti.
Hong Kong last year.
No,
they
I mean
was-
Tahiti. Sorry,
Tahiti.
I'm
yeah.
not sure
Yeah,
who
yeah.
was the first European.
Hong
last
Kong
year.
was 8th last year.
Yeah,
And
was that Gordon?
no, he was 9th. Let's have a quick. I've got it on my screen somewhere. It was French.
Oh, probably Noé.
No,
Pelliza.
no. I will get it to you straight away. It was Nicholas Lambert.
Nicolas Lambert. Okay, that's also
So
an
just to
interesting
give
name.
you-
He's current in number 12.
He's doing okay. But here's the front runner in the race.
What is happening to Sean Rice? Is he no? It must be some. We must be missing him.
I think that's a very good point. Actually, he's not on screen there, so he's not on the list at all. So his tracker's not working. Presumably, he's got to be out there somewhere. So this is the mouth of the river you're talking about, Andre.
Yeah.
Bottom right of your screen there, Espezendi, as that river comes out. And just approaching that now, we've got the OC1s. Olivia Piana from France, absolutely giving the boys a kick in there. We've got behind her Besada from Spain, and a little way back now. As soon as they hit the rough, to be fair, Blacker from Great Britain was always going to be second or third best. Coming back up to the women's, let's scroll down to the women's race. Bit of a scroll down, and here we go. Hayley Nixon leads 300 metres from Hatton. Hartley has moved up.
That is a big gap.
Actually, no, we've lost. I tell you, we've lost there. We've lost the French. Leroux, Angie Leroux is not on there.
Just on the coverage.
The trackers.
She was probably that's an area that's a little bit more remote. So probably we're gonna get her as soon as she hits the.
Michelle Herrey up to 5th, which is probably 6th when you include Leroux back in. And she is closing down big time on Verge from Spain. But it's Nixon from Hatton, from Hartley.
Yeah, presumably she's going to be somewhere there in the mix.
Yeah, I think she's still top 4. She's been top 2 most of the way. She was just falling back a little. Hatton had overhauled her last time we saw her out there. Burnett still now, or the gaps are opening. Burnett now nearly 1,000 metres down on Nixon.
Yeah.
And times are getting Maggie Hogan, Laurie junior world champion, now moved up to under 23.
Right, it's another game, and it's good to see her still getting herself in the middle of the mix with such a strong field. It doesn't get much better than this. I would say we're probably missing Rachel Clark from New Zealand and Naomi Flood from Australia as the other big winners from the last few years.
And second place last year was Michelle Byrne, of course. She'll be in there. But good news for the locals as well. You got Sarah doing really well there, 13th place.
Yeah, she's
couple of K down. She's moving up through the field. Been doing that fairly steadily. We'll go back to the top of the men's. Give you the view on screen. And it won't be long before they're in physical sight of us here at commentary. It's Naughton from Mocha. McGregor still holding it to around that 100 metres. Kenny Rice, Sean Rice has to be there somewhere, you'd assume, unless something bad's happened. Boat failure, or don't think there's going to be any trouble with overheating out there. It hasn't been too hot here this weekend. Nice and sunny. There, bottom of your screen, Hayley Nixon well ahead now to Neil Hatton, Bridget Hartley, Verge from Spain, Herrey just on their inside. And Herrey moving up through the field, in with a chance of a top 3, and I'm sure she would be very, very pleased with that. But in the men's, it's Mocha from Naughton, from McGregor, from Rice, from Harbrecht. Harbrecht only a few metres down on Kenny Rice, and he's an extremely strong paddler. So in the flat, last 750, 800 metres, Harbrecht's also going to be a force to reckon with. He's ahead of Jasper Mocha by some 50 metres. Victor Heno behind him, that's a big gap there, 150 metres. Esteban Medina fallen back behind Heno since we last saw the front of this race. Scroll up. Looks like easy pickings for Hayley Nixon now. Hayley Nixon almost at 400 metre lead from Hatton. Angie Leroux
up there somewhere. We've lost touch with her. And Chloe Burnett there has been stretched out to exactly 1 kilometre behind the leaders. Hatton travelling well at around 16 kilometres an hour, as are all those top three. Hartley losing ground there. Just missing one run and the gap opens up another 20 or 30 metres. Have a little look back down the field. Maggie Hogan there. And Mocker, let's get to the top. So it's David Mocker leading from Nick Naughton, Hank McGregor, still around the 100-metre mark. Then a bigger gap back to Kenny Rice and Gordon Harbrecht. Gordon Harbrecht closing in on Kenny Rice. And we should be able to see them fairly soon from commentary. Screen showing there, Basada leading the men's OC1 from Chris Blacker. So Spain from Great Britain, 1.7 kilometres the difference, but ahead of both those guys is Piana from France. And you can see her average speed there, or her current speed, 11 versus the guys doing sub 10. So she is travelling extremely well. And the men are gradually closing down. Naughton and David Mocker trading punches at the front as they go wave for wave. Try and get you some idea. There's Nixon there. She's approaching the 15k line. Just in front of her, this is the line for 15k. And the boys are back there. Number one, Naughton at the moment. So they're still quite a way down. We know that Bunnett there is 1,000 metres behind Nixon. So Naughton is about 1,200 metres adrift of Hayley Nixon. And 1,200 metres at this speed is probably looking at about 4 minutes. So they've closed up 9 minutes on the women and 4 minutes behind with about 4K, 4.5K to go.
I'm back.
And Andre's back in the building. Round of applause for Andre.
Yeah, thank you.
So what do you think, Andre? What's your betting? Hayley Nixon about 1,200 metres ahead of Nick Naughton with 5K to go.
Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be close because they have closed pretty much 2K already on them. So it's going to be close. It's not going to be easy, but the wind is dropping. But when you think on the times and to think that Nick would have to beat her with almost 4 minutes over 5K, it's gonna be hard. But the times were respected. That was the 13 minutes.
That's and that 13 minutes has been set up from the historical results of this same event. So the 13 minutes isn't an arbitrary figure. It's the figure.
It is the figure of the average, and it was interesting because we did it based on the last two editions, where we had one edition that was very wild with a lot of wind, and then we had last year that was similar to this condition. So we had both years it was 13 minutes. So
you say very wild, Andre. Can you give us some sort of picture of what it's like out there on a very wild day? What sort of what are you looking at?
We're looking at, even today we had like around 20 knots in the start that then fades over to the end. But this place can register easily up to 35, 40. And when we have swell, in August we don't have that much swell. But when we have swell of 1.5 to 2 meters together with volume of wind, then things get pretty big out there, and we're talking about 3-4 meter waves that you're surfing, the smaller waves in between those big waves, and it's a couple of years ago we had small surf and still it was pretty big and pretty hectic. So as a race organizer, I would say a little bit more than what we have now, but not much
too
more.
much
As
more.
you saw on Wednesday, there is a line that it's hard to cross when we're talking about 300 people on the start line.
Yeah, and not everyone measures their own level of ability very accurately.
No, people
I
are
think.
very good at measuring other people's level of ability, not really good at measuring their own level of ability.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm still curious to see where Sean is sitting, because I can see like these conditions are his thing, and I would like to see where he is. It's unfortunately we don't have visual contact with him because the motorboat is trying to see where he is, but they have not been able to close down on him.
Yeah, Sean's been training in the UK and racing our marathon races in his surf ski, and been doing a great job of it too. He's been beating most of our guys at home, which is a little bit embarrassing to be fair, but he is going extremely well at the moment. And then he spends the rest of his time touring around, doing his coaching, going to the races, picking up the checks where he can, and
Well, it's working for him. Definitely the volume on. He seems to be winning the ones he wants rather than trying to win everything.
Yeah.
He's trying to win the ones he wants, and apparently that's working. It's working very well.
So Hayley Nixon, now her lead extends to over 400 metres, a couple of 100 metres back then. That's on Tennille Hatton, a couple of 100 metres then back to Bridget Hartley. Michelle Herrey, another 100 metres back, and she's pretty much side by side with Verge from Spain now, who trails her by 20 metres. Then it's a couple of 100 metres back to Osaba and another 200 or 300 back to Barnett. She's ahead
Yeah,
of
Nick-
Laurie, Hogan, Lisa, Marty, Lee.
Nick Norton is with Amaya already. That's how close they are. So that's
Ouch.
so they're gonna close down fast
So
from now on.
let's see if we can get you some sort of view. There's McGregor on screen there. Hayley Nixon at the bottom of the screen down here. So we are looking
Yeah, Nick
at...
Norton is just about to hit this 15K mark. So
So that gap is closing. So McGregor currently travelling at 18k an hour. Norton on screen as it stands 15k. McGregor now down to 14, 15 as well. So we obviously got him at a sweet spot on the wave.
yeah,
But,
we
they
have him back. There he goes again.
Travelling,
There he goes again.
yeah,
He's
back
only
up to
16
19, 20 there for Mocha. And
He's only 60 meters behind Nick Norton, so he's closing down. I think he's doing exactly what we expected him to do. We have Kenny Rice also closing down the field, and I would say that this brother must be somewhere in front of Norton at this point.
And the women topping out somewhere around 16k an hour. Just not quite got the power, I guess, to keep the averages up. So Nixon leads from Hatton, from Hartley, from Array, Verge. We have got Angie LaRue in there somewhere. We've lost her tracker, so we can't give you any information on her, but we believe she's top 4 still. Array up to 4th on screen at least. Could be 5th, depending where the French girl is.
Yeah, we also lost Ken Wallace. He was around 17th place, but now we have Oscar on 17th, and we kind of missed him. So he's only 1K behind the leaders, what is not bad with. And he's traveling fast, so I think he will use a little bit of his local knowledge on this technical part.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the average speeds on screen, and he is doing better than most of those around him.
Yeah, he's with Victor from France and
Nacho.
Gloria from Spain, Benoit Leroux from France, Job van Bakel, and in front of Herman, and none of this that I just said wants to be beaten by Oscar, so that brings the extra interest for the night chat, when they are. And then we have the Portuguese currently in number 22 and 26, but Oscar is actually the best Portuguese right now, even though he's not 100%
not
Portuguese,
specifically
only like
Portuguese.
99% Portuguese. He's currently on 17th in front of João
Is that
Santos.
99% in Chalupsky percents?
Yes.
Where percents can mean different things on different days. But doing a great job there. And you got to hand it to him. He spent the week here doing his coaching clinics while other people have been training on the 2 practice runs. Oscar's been out the back with the beginners, helping them out instead of doing his own thing. Notton past the 15k mark now. And let's get a little view. We'll try and get an exact distance behind. So Notton is back there, and he's side by side with, that's McGregor. Let's find one of the girls, Asaba. So Asaba is 1k down on the leader Nixon, and Notton is with Asaba pretty much. So it's only 4 minutes the difference now.
Or even less. They're traveling.
Yeah,
It's funny because when we look at the conditions here, it doesn't look very fast, but this is the worst part of the race, right? This is the hardest part of all of it. So I think they are actually closer. And we have also the motorboat is very close. So we have Olivia Piana. She's just around the corner. And she's just around the corner from here.
Let's have a scroll down the coast and see where those
she's
OC ones
she's
are.
close to the North Pier already. We have getting close to the river mouth. That's Ailey.
So there on screen
Oh my
is
God, they are.
Piana, and she's well past the river mouth now.
Yeah.
And just further down, this wall here, we can see to our right, it's a bit of a trawl from there.
We can see the motorboat, so they must be very, very close to that.
So Piana has stayed ahead of Basada, and way back now, somewhere behind Nixon. I think this boat is Blacker. Yep. So he's been overtaken by the first of the women, which is Nixon, who is now well ahead, over 500 meters now from Tennille Hatton. So Nixon is just going strength to strength, and I'm going to say she's going to get here first, Andre.
Yeah, it all depends on where Sean Rice is at this point.
That's true. If
If
leading,
he's leading with 500 meters, he might catch them, because when I look at the speed, she's moving considerably slower than the guys as expected. So I'm not sure how much these 2-3 kilometers per hour are going to make a difference towards the end as they hit the wall somewhere here.
McGregor's caught Mocha now, as you said he would, when the going got a bit harder, a bit less
closing.
technical.
He's only 45
meters.
He was 100, then he was 70, now he's down
half
to
the
40.
distance on Notton. It's just Sean Rice is throwing confusion on this by having a tracker that's not working.
Yeah.
Harbrecht also moving up.
We know we don't have to save him, so that's why we're not very worried. That was a bit of a thing. That's launch coming in. But still, it's impressive to see when we have almost 20 people on only 4 minutes on a surf ski race over 19 kilometers. This is like doing a 20. Can you imagine a 20k time trial where people are losing, around 10 seconds per 1,000 meter with each other? That's all they're losing. So pretty impressive to see. So Jasper is in 9th. Victor is now in 10th. And we have Esteban Medina and Gordon and Noé. Those are the 3 Europeans up there, 5, 6, and 7. And then we have Joshua Fenn on 8th. I would say that it must be a junior. One of them is...
He's under 23, but he won junior. Maybe he's 4th in the juniors last year, something like that.
He was juniors,
certainly top 5. And like you say, we can see the motorboat now coming around that pier.
Yeah, they're just
try and give you... Try and move out so you can see the river mouth now on screen. And It's Naughton, at least on screen, is making the charge. Nixon past the river mouth, but the distance is getting closer and closer. Naughton has now passed. Oh, McGregor is almost. McGregor now just 12 metres behind Naughton, and 7 metres, 6 metres, 5 metres, 4, 2, 1, and McGregor takes the lead. And that's pretty brutal if you're Nick Naughton.
Yeah, he was leading. He was leading for a good part of the way, or at least, let's say he's leading. If we forget about Sean Rice, there's probably somewhere there.
Should we just pretend Sean doesn't exist for now until we've
pretend
got an
he's
actual
not
visual
there.
on him?
And then, yeah, but Ailey, she has a big lead. Ailey is about to.
She's got to be coming to the pier fairly shortly, Ailey. There she is.
No, she's still, there's a bit coming.
So we'll see if we can get a tab on one of the other women who are with. So Hartley.
McGregor is pretty much where Tennille is.
McGregor is pretty much level with Iray, and Iray is 800 metres down on Nixon. So the difference is 800 metres now between the first men and the first women, and it's still a big gap to close. I think it looks like Nixon could have this.
Yeah, like I said, it all depends. It wouldn't be the first time that Sean Rice is leading with 500 meters from everybody on a race like this, on a day like this, where that powerful stroke he has, that crazy rhythm of the start, that we never know.
We've got the first OC1 in sight.
And that's Olivia. So she will have to go around this can here, and I'm gonna probably go and.
She's about 300 meters away, halfway back from the pier.
Yeah, and we can see the second OC1 as well in the back from Spain, Bezada, and soon we will have Nixon on the inside as well.
There's the view from the track at the front here.
And Sean Rice has moved.
We've got Piana. You can see the finish just 300 meters away. Behind Piana, probably another 300 meters is Basada, and the next boat round the pier will be Hayley Nixon or Sean Rice.
Or Sean Rice. So I'll go and hit the beach.
Okay.
Ivan will keep.
Andre's going to don his bikini and go and join the revelers down on the beach. And whip 'em up into a storm, Andre.
I will.
So, give you a mix of track information and visual. OC1's 200 meters away, maybe less now. So the first across the line in the OC1's is going to be a minute or so away now. Olivia Piana, SUP specialist, clearly not too shabby at OC1 either, beating both the guys. Basada from Spain will be winning the men's race, and next round the pier will be Hayley Nixon, who's in shot there. So Nixon almost 600 metres clear now of Hatton, 200 metres clear of Hartley, who is being hunted down now by Array. Verge, another 150 metres behind Array. Asaba with her pretty much. Bunnett 1.6k down now. She's lost 600 metres in the last 5k. So she's falling back a little bit, but still a very respectable 7th. And coming into the beach now, directly in front of us. It's going to be very hard from commentary to give you names coming in because the sun's directly behind them, so they don't show up very well. But first across the line, getting off a OC1 now, taking her time. big victory, picking up her boat. We'll see most of the ski paddlers leave their boat down by the beach for someone else to collect later, but Piana clearly likes her boat a bit more than that. So she's walking it up the beach and she's putting her paddle down and into the beach. She comes. So first one across the line. In the OC1s. We'll scroll back and you can see now the pier, which is about 500 meters away from us, and Nixon just the other side of that pier, ahead of Hatton, some considerable distance back now, 600 meters. Hartley only 50 meters ahead of Array, and we'll scroll back to the men's race. Got to be here somewhere. There's Mocha. Let's click on Mocha and see he's 5th. Let's scroll down. So it's McGregor from Notton, from Rice. Harbrecht a little bit too far behind Rice to bother him, I would think, at this stage. But there's McGregor. Just behind second place now in the women's race. The second place in the women's race, almost 600 meters down on first place, I think. Hayley Nixon is safe. But the 13-minute time gap has worked extremely well. They're all going to finish at roughly the same time. So it's McGregor from Notton, from Ken Rice, Gordon Harbrecht, ahead of David Mocker, who did so well in the early stages. Noah Politza, first to the French. Esteban Medina from Spain. Fen Lambert from France. Slatcher also from France. Henna, French, really. You got 5 French people there in the top 13. And the French system is clearly beginning to produce some athletes that could challenge in a few years' time for the podium positions. But currently closest to the podium is Harbrecht from Germany. 9th last year at the World Championships. And I would say by the World Championships next year in northern France, Harbrecht will be one of the contenders. Second boat in now, just coming up the beach in his OC1 from Spain is Basada, tucking his paddle down the back of his life jacket. Maybe that's an OC1 thing to do, who knows. Carrying his boat up, running up the beach. He's first out of the harbour, but as soon as they got onto the rough stuff, he was overtaken, and he's had to settle for second best today in the OC racing, and that was second best to Olivia Piana from France. So in view now, Hayley Nixon, 2 or 3 minutes away. No sign of a potential Sean Rice. It's Hayley Nixon out on her own, clear of her field, 600 metres or so, 650 metres from Hatton, who is side by side with Nick Notton at the moment. Hank McGregor a few metres in front of them. They're coming around the pier, 500 metres away. But it is Hayley Nixon, world champion, and now champion of the Nelo 10th edition of the Nelo Summer Challenge. It'll be Nixon across the line next, followed by McGregor. So McGregor in the last couple of minutes since we last met them in their race has opened up 140 metres on Nick Naughton, who's another 100 metres ahead of Kenny Rice. And those three look safe for the medals. Hayley Nixon turned and heading in towards the beach. She's got about 50 metres to go. Looking comfortable. There's nothing that's going to trouble them coming into the beach today. Just small waves. She rests, tucks in on a wave there as the boat hits the sand. Hayley's out the boat, running up the beach with her paddle, and she's going to cross the line well ahead of her field. Superb race from her. And we move back now to the men's race, and it's Hank McGregor ahead of Nick Naughton. But there is out there, it looks like we could have, it's very hard to see against the sun, but the next boat coming in looks like it could actually be, after all the talk, it could be Sean Rice. So hard to tell in silhouette. But I think your winner could be, it's most definitely a Think boat. And I think your winner with no tracker on, coming up the beach now, it isn't McGregor, so it has to be Sean Rice. McGregor hunting him down. He's coming in second position. So Sean Rice wins the 10th edition of the Nelo Summer Challenge. It's a shame his tracker wasn't working. Up comes McGregor now.
Really exciting and really tough, and thank you. Beautiful event.
So McGregor's up the beach.
Thank you,
Next
Hayley.
in,
Muito obrigado,
only
Hayley,
just behind him,
falar sobre
Nick Naughton
as condições
comes in
excepcionais. Can I
side
have
by
Sean
side pretty much with Tennille Hatton.
a little bit closer here because my mic is not that long. It's pretty long, but people say, just saying. Well done. How many times have you won here before?
I'm not sure, but this is where I won my first World Championships, and well, my only one, and yeah, it's like
How was it
That could
out
well
there?
be Angie Mooden,
Oh, it was
Angie LaRue,
fantastic.
sorry,
It's,
in second
It's
place.
a huge relief. I've been on flat water for a long time, so
So the two people whose trackers weren't working have done way better
And
than we thought.
was there
so it
enough
could be
for
Angie
surfing
LaRue,
or mostly
second place.
working?
No, it was definitely surfing. It was actually a lot of fun. Just rhythm, that was important, and I found that right at the start, and it was like a pleasure.
Thank you, and well
Kenny
done.
Rice coming up the beach
We have here second place, Hank.
in fourth.
How was
So
it?
it was
That
Rice,
was a great race.
McGregor, Naughton,
Well done to Sean.
and
Taking
Rice two.
it's just too strong today.
Just when you thought it was
And,
safe
yeah,
to go back
race.
in the ocean.
had a bad
And
section
we
in the middle, and then I
try
came back strong at the end.
Getting quite
So
hard now.
stoked to finish
to,
strong, and
we'll watch 'em
well
on
done to all the people
tracker.
that finished today, and the organisers. Thanks, Nelo. Fantastic race.
Thank you. Now we go into the second place here, Angie. Angie, s'il te plaît. We must talk more here. Because so, English? Okay, how was it?
That was a fantastic race, very hard, very good racing with the girls. I loved it.
Conditions are good?
Yeah, very good.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Ok, so aos poucos os atletas começam a chegar. Para aqueles mais curiosos, estes atletas se partiram do centro de Viana do Castelo. São 19 quilómetros até aqui à praia de Ofir. temos aqui os melhores atletas do mundo nesta disciplina e eles percorreram esta distância. Houve aqui em disputa qual seria o primeiro barco. Hoje a vitória foi para as mulheres. As meninas foram mais rápidas em relação aos homens com o devido correção de tempo, por isso a grande vencedora de hoje é mesmo a Hayley Nixon. We have now in the finish line, it's Michelle Ray and Bridget Hartley. So Bridget, Michelle, and then we have the guys coming in as well. Can I have Nick Norton? Can you? Nick. I cannot go that far. So in the commentary box, we thought we were winning because we couldn't see Sean and then we saw Hank came past you and then we were surprised that Sean was actually in front of everybody. Did you actually see them during the race or?
Well, I saw Sean most of the time. To be honest, my eyesight's not great, so I normally struggle to see people, but I did see Sean most of the time. And I was actually worried that people were going to come up on my inside, but luckily that wasn't the case.
So Hank went past you, close to you?
Well, he actually kind of snuck past on my outside, and I didn't see him until it was too late, but to be honest, there was not enough power left in me to even try and challenge that.
So you're happy with this performance leading up to next week for another battle on calmer waters?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm going to miss the runs then, but yeah, it's a nice build-up.
Thank you and well done. Tanil, hard work.
Yeah, very much so. It was a little bit flat for me.
Well done. It was a lot of work out there then.
Yeah, very hard. It was a bit of a drag race, but we ended up spreading out quite a bit and you couldn't really see anyone.
Okay, so you were not sure in what position you were, or you could see the leaders?
I could see where everyone was, but probably until halfway, and then I sort of took my own line and got into my own rhythm and couldn't see anybody.
Okay, well done. Third place for Tanil Hatton from New Zealand. And I'm going to call Gordon. I'm guessing Gordon is the first European, right? Your first European? Yeah. You need to come here because cannot go there. Gordon, you're getting closer and closer. How was it today?
It was super tough. Really hard fighting. It's for every position, and then in the downwind. I tried to going with these South African, Australian guys, and I think we get closer. But it's still hard to beat.
Yeah, but you're doing a good job and you're getting closer and closer every year, so well done. Well done. Great to have you here. And e ao mesmo tempo os atletas vão falando sobre a dureza da prova, mas também sobre as excelentes condições que encontram aqui neste percurso entre Viana e Esposende, e aos poucos os atletas vão chegando. Espero ver agora o João Santos. Seria o primeiro português a chegar. Ele, pelas minhas contas, deveria estar agora a entrar. Vamos ver se o conseguimos identificar no contraluz. Temos Oscar Chalupski, quase português. And we have Oscar Valentin Hainaut from France. And we have Arman Chalupski. We have Benoit Leroux. So the winner of the Oscar, of the Chalupski's challenge is Oscar today.
We had 5 seconds to start. We were counting it down, that's how we were pushing. And then the boat went twice.
We're going to see because it's individual.
No,
it's 13 minutes.
check. But it's the best way to do it. Yeah, but that's why. But they can't have a beach storm. You've got to have a beach storm. But it's the best way to do it for sponsors. I reckon it's the best way. And then you're racing. It's a race. It's a battle of the sticks. We were talking about it
And you'll be
yesterday.
able to refine it as you go along. Yeah.
We're not far. You want to speed when you come around the tree.
You know, like, I mean, it's going to be like either you...
No, I reckon it's within 30 seconds though.
That's what you want. You want it to go right up the beach.
So, e aos poucos temos aqui os atletas que vão entrando. Eu estou a tentar identificar aqui o João Santos. João, já chegaste? Chegou agora? João? Estou aqui. Vamos entrevistar então aqui o primeiro atleta português, o João Santos. Excelente aqui, misturou-se aqui com os craques. Aqui na frente do David Fernandes, que acaba de terminar também, segundo português. João, como é que foi hoje aqui com os grandes craques?
Muito duro. Queria ter feito melhor, arranquei muito mal. A rodagem para a Bahia muito atrasado. Depois no mar foi sempre a tentar recuperar. Não sei muito bem como é que fiquei, mas havia algumas ondas, portanto.
As ondas, aquelas ondas, penso eu, nos primeiros 15 km foram suficientes para usares o teu conhecimento e recuperar alguns lugares?
Penso que recuperei bastante nos primeiros 10 km no Downwind, mas depois já estava cansado, não consegui recuperar tudo o que queria.
Ok, mesmo assim, parabéns, foi excelente. Chegaste aqui muito perto dos primeiros, à frente de muitos dos melhores do mundo, por isso, excelente, parabéns. E vamos estar agora atentos à primeira classificada portuguesa, que será, ou seria, no momento que estávamos a seguir, a Sara Rafael. Vamos estar atentos. Ao mesmo tempo que vão chegando aqui à praia todos os atletas, relembro que chegarão aqui cerca de 250 pessoas, almost 200, over 250 paddlers that were at the start. E vamos então chamar agora aqui o Oscar. Oscar, I can't see you. Can you see me? Oscar Chalupski. Oscar, vamos ouvir aqui pelas palavras de um dos pessoas que melhor conhece este percurso, embora resida em Portugal há apenas 3 anos, é um local. Oscar, even though he's in Portugal only for the last 3 years, he's probably the person that has paddled more times this course. How was it out there today?
Oh, it was fun for about 12 kilometers. I actually predicted because the wind came a little bit. Fantastic runs for the first 12 kilometers. I knew then we had residual waves, which made it fun. Still made it into a surf ski race, but it was a bit of a flat surf ski race towards the end. It was hard work for me.
Well done. You were right there with the top guys, so we all know how hard it is. Everybody's getting faster and faster, so great racing. It's for sure a very humbling race for everybody because the field is very, very strong. É uma das provas mais competitivas, se não a mais competitiva do mundo, e por isso aqui todos os lugares são disputados e rapidamente um atleta vai da 10ª à 25ª posição. Como viram, eles chegaram aos poucos, mas de repente temos aqui já dezenas e dezenas de embarcações na praia. To all the athletes, we're going to start the prize giving ceremony at 6 o'clock. E aos poucos temos aqui os atletas a surfar estas ondas que hoje estão a facilitar a sua tarefa. Normalmente temos aqui ondas bem maiores, mas ainda bem que não, porque assim eles podem entrar com segurança. So gradually the athletes are coming in, the juniors, the under 23, all different kind of masters. So it is a great environment, and slowly e aos poucos os atletas vão se aproximando. Estamos ainda pendentes de ver a Sara Rafael, que estará perto, a primeira atleta portuguesa. E, portanto, estes atletas, para aqueles que ainda não ouviram, vieram de Viana do Castelo até aqui. Todo o tipo de atletas, temos australianos, neozelandeses, Hong Kong, Portugal, obviamente, de toda a Europa, Canadá, Estados Unidos, México, Uruguai, Argentina, Porto Rico, numa lista total de 27 países aqui presentes. E ainda não vimos a Sara Rafael ainda não chegou. Estamos à espera e eu penso que ela será a melhor atleta portuguesa, mas não a conseguimos visualizar ainda. Para todos os atletas, relembro que a entrega de medalhas será às 18 horas, 6 o'clock. The prize giving ceremony will start up there at 6 o'clock. All the GPS trackers, please bring back to the top. We have the first double. It's the first double. É o Figueiras. Não é. Temos agora aqui o primeiro duplo de Espanha. Vencedores da classe K2. E temos já à vista o segundo classificado na embarcação de 2. E vejam como eles surfam estas ondas com habilidade ou não. Vamos ver se foi com habilidade ou não. Ok, aqui, agora quem gostar de ver pessoas a cair à água vai ser agora. Aí está. Aí está. Ai, quase. Sebas. E temos então com os coletes cor laranja, foram os primeiros classificados na vertente de 2. Agora temos aqui, agora sim, alguém caiu à água. Vamos ver se vai haver mais pessoas a cair à água. Por favor, entreguem os GPS lá em cima. So bring the GPSs up there. There is a box up there. There is food. There is some drinks. So eat something, rest, have a Red Bull, and leave your GPSs in a box. There is a box saying GPSs. So leave those GPSs there. So, los GPS arriba, ¿vale? Dejarles, hay unas cajas propias para dejarlo. Aí em cima, lá em cima, tem lá umas caixas próprias que dizem GPS, lá dentro. Beber uma aguinha, uma Coca-Cola, comer uma maçã de leitão. Muita gente. Só vejo gente, só vejo vários autocarros e...
Tão bom. E ainda faltava do pedal. Mais um pedal.
E temos então os atletas neste momento que vocês vêm a chegar já têm uma hora e meia de prova. Portanto, foi um esforço muito grande. Para os atletas podem subir, existem lá em cima bebidas e comidas. Food and drinks up there, so feel free to go for some food, some drinks, sit down, and then after 6 o'clock we're gonna start the prize giving.
Rebellion
Thank you. Thank you all to the volunteers for giving us a hand getting the boats up here. There is food and drinks up there for those that are thirsty and looking for a drink, looking for a bite as well. So make your way up. Make sure you bring your boat, hose it down, and we'll start packing at some point. Tomorrow morning we'll meet here for the life saving. With this surf, it's gonna be fun. Okay, here we go. Here we go to surfing that wave. That's good. Very good. Very good surfing. Mais uma vez, obrigado aqui aos voluntários pela ajuda na recolha dos barcos. E agora podemos ver estes atletas, podem olhar para ali que isto vai ser engraçado. Aí está. A onda vai o apanhar, não, o atleta da Irlanda, muito bem, aguentou-se bem. À medida que a maré vai ficando mais cheia, vão havendo aqui umas ondas. Aqui chegada emocionante entre o número 64 e 179 e realmente a competitividade de todos é levada aqui ao limite. Toda a gente tenta até ao fim a sua melhor classificação e mesmo que seja na luta pela 155º, ninguém quer ficar em 156º. Os GPS para entregar lá em cima, vai ser colocada lá uma caixa para depositar os GPS, so there will be a box to drop the GPSs up there. Okay, una caja arriba para poner los GPS. Tonight you will be able to review the race on track. You can see exactly how fast you were paddling and how fast the other guys were paddling. E havia agora aqui a chegada emocionante, 3:35 e 3:29. Uma disputa até ao final entre a atleta francesa e a atleta inglesa. E aos poucos podemos ver os atletas de todas as idades. Temos desde os 16 até aos 75. O atleta mais velho em competição tem 75 anos. We have from the 16 to 75 years old, so we have a little bit of everything. E agora aqui uma chegada arriscada do duplo feminino. A ver, não, conseguiram, muito bem. Primeiro duplo feminino a entrar agora aqui. Teresa Portela, Francisca Carvalho.
Nós íamos mais rápido, mas entretanto estourámos e já não conseguimos.
Porque ali no Rio nós tínhamos bem, depois cá para o deixar eu passar no sul, claro.
E elas iniciaram. Ganhamos. Opa, aí está a ver.
Estes cá para o deixar passaram, não são sub-23 coisas. Não, os velhotes. É que é, estava um bocado.
Olha, tem lá em cima água e queima.
É que eu vinha desse lado.
Olha, mas vocês ganharam por muito.
Opa, olha, ó Figueiras. Figueiras, o que é que faz a diferença no nosso campo? Nós chegamos a lá todos. O que é que faz a diferença? É isso, não é? Estás no meio.
So again, we need the athletes to leave the GPSs up there. Go for a drink. There's some food, drink, have a bite, and we will start the prize giving ceremony around 6 o'clock or whenever the last paddler comes in. E os últimos atletas estão neste momento perto da barra de Ofir, da barra de Esposende, peço desculpa.
witty. I said I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am the rock of ages, you cannot move I at all. I am the son of lightning, you cannot move I at all. Son of Jacob cannot be moved at all. I am the son of Moses, you can move I at all. I am the son of David, you cannot move I at all. I am a firm like thunder, you cannot move I at all. You could have shed no tears, you cannot move I at all. You could have full of evil, you cannot move I at all. You could have tried more nothing, you cannot move I at all. And you try to lick something that can move I at all. And could have come with ism, you can move I at all. And if you come with schism, that can move I at all.
You're about to blow up above a bow. Step inside and flow off into your own world where no one else can be and no one else can see. None of your dreams shut down by reality. But that ain't gonna solve the fears that you hold. I hate to be the first to burst but a bow, but I thought that you should know that even if you go, shadows have the tendency to follow. So why you running away? 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 Oh, I gotta stand a toe and try to take control. So pick you back up from off the wall and try and make a change. Cause yes, you are brave. I want to educate that you don't need to run away. So don't you run away, cause you can't escape. The ghosts will haunt your mind when negativity stay. Unless you turn and face and pick up the courage to say that I ain't afraid of you no more. Why you running away? 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 Stop you running from, stop running to a destination that is gonna help your life improve. You need to realize that running all the time ain't gonna help you tackle these things in life. You need to fight and stop hiding away from all you try about.
On dois. Guys, this is the place here to leave your GPSs. Okay, here near the restaurant entry. This is the place. All the GPSs, okay? Yep. Aqui, por aqui os GPS, ok?
Yes, not all the time it's gonna be easy. I saw it go, smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. I'm feeling so very good about myself. Babylon ain't feeling good, damn. That's their problem. I smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. And when I got problem at home domestically, and my girl she just wanna come with me, I smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. Love is the order of the day, you better find it. I'm a big man, I put my problems behind me. I smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. Cause I'm so confident in myself. There's nothing nor no one that could get to me. Not even the damn system so listen properly. Right now I'm merry and cheery and living happily. If those Babylonians mess with us today, the music I play and smoke my problems away. Me and couple of my friends were just chilling on the corner, listening to the music from Jamaica to Bahamas. Yeah, we decided to go link the farmer. Need something for the brain, it's the marijuana. Happy as a lark when the good vibes stir up. When the chanting starts, you get burn if you corrupt. We smoke all day and still we got the herbs are above. Dirty Babylon rob. We give thanks for this day, we keep the meditation. Music and more music, we burn the pagans. No if, no buts, no argument. Marijuana is my holy sacrament. I smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. Smoke the marijuana and get high. Give thanks and praise, eyes is high. All when Babylonians going down, Rastaman still request £100. Blaze up the chalice and we pass it around. And if I'm by myself, I go smoke it alone. We got the skunk to make you drunk, it make you rock, it makes you bounce. We got the diesel go easy, we got enough for the people. We got the hydro to rise ya, smoke and get wiser. Chalice and for blaze, we smoking purple haze. Smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. Sometimes the things I need in life may be difficult. Not all the time it's gonna be easy. I saw it go, smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. I'm feeling so very good about myself. Pagans ain't feeling good, well, and that's the problem. I smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. And when I got problem at home domestically, and my lady just wanna quarrel with me, I smoke the marijuana and get high. Stay above the wicked and fly. Love is the higher of the day, you gotta find it. I'm a big man and I put my problems behind me. I smoke the marijuana and get Woo!
one big road with a lot of signs and turns and twists and curves. And even though the road is rocky, but maintain the rock and keep on rocking from city to city, backyard to yard. And we be seeing the sights, standing under the lights. And the spot is hot, it's cold and lonely at night. And I'm feeling and I'm dreaming and I'm holding it tight. But hold on, every single road I roll on come to an end and I'm back home again. So baby, please don't cry. It's no valley low and it's no mountain high. And our love don't die with the passage of time. It just grows more, it just keeps strong. And even though I'm gone, I am never too far. You're the light through the dark, shining bright through my heart. So my journey must start.
Even though the road is rocky, I'll be coming home to you again. 'Cause if you thought that I was lost, I had to bear my cross. Now I'm free from all these chains.
On those. Guys, we have a bit of a delay because some paddlers are still behind. So we're gonna change the prize giving for 6:30. 6:30. So you have 20 minutes, ok? Daqui a 20 minutos vamos iniciar a entrega de prémios, ok? 20 minutes, 20 minutos, ok? Temos ainda atletas em prova, vamos esperar mais 20 minutos.
Starfish and coconut water. The Blue Mountain make you fly a little higher. Lord. I feel like jamming to the reggae beat. Dance to the rhythm and move your feet. I feel like jamming to the sweet vibration. Whoa, sweet Jamaica. If you love Jamaica, let me see your hand. Raise it to the sky and let me see your hand. If you love Jamaica, let me see your hand. Sweet Jamaica.
And my saltfish, we nah left ya. Sabia man, banana, we nah left ya. I'm a big flower dumpling, we nah left ya. Ain't nothing like this sweet cool breeze a jam down. String up the sun, one heap of vibes can't done. Reggae music beautiful and people just a have fun. Jerk on a place, I would have fish a steam down. Me proud of me island. Lord of God, me say me proud of me island. Come is a Vegas, we proud of me island. Outlaw Jones, will me say me proud of me island.
Sweet Jamaica. If you love Jamaica, let me see your hand. Raise it to the sky and let me see your hand. If you love Jamaica, let me see your hand. Right. Jamaica, Jamaica. That's where me come from. Bob Marley and the real as them are the real icon. After winter, non-alcoholic, they were the first
say I am with it, and we not go away. Sweet jam down with it. Yes, me say we not go no way. And you can see them, then you see them, then you see them down we down in that Jamaica. Yes, that is why we say we shout to tell the people. On this people, this coming your way, each and every day like I will play in any way. So you go hear me when we play. Yeah.
I got love for you. Hey, I got love. We love the black, we love the white, we love the Asians, Caribbean, the African, the Latin woman, the European, Middle Eastern, and the Indian. This one goes out to all the girls on the
All you gotta do is look at me. 3 generations of my family, see. People treat you different when you're in between. He was black and she was white. You know that most people thought that it wasn't right. I can still remember what she used to say. It don't make any difference to me.
One love, one love, one love.
What the world thinks about us, baby.
Yep. One love, one love,
My heart, I will always believe.
yep. One love, one love, one love.
For each other, nothing got no color. It don't make any difference to me. What place?
We love the black, we love the white, we love the Asians, Caribbean, the African, the Latin woman, the European, Middle Eastern, and the Indian. This one goes out to all the girls around the nation.
Every time I look at you, deep in your brown eyes, I see what you're going through. The streets are different if you're in between. Oh, I can feel it every day. Whispers of words that they think I don't hear them say. Before you let a tear fall, remember, girl. It don't make any difference to me.
One love, one love,
What
one
the
love.
world thinks about us, baby.
Yep. One love, one love,
My
one
heart,
love.
I will always believe.
Yep. One love, one love,
We were
one
meant
love.
for each other. Nothing got no color. Don't make any difference to me. Baby, things done changed, but it's still the same. We gon' find a way so we can maintain. Oh, even though might get a little difficult. Always remember, girl, that we're inseparable.
Baby girl, you're my angel. No matter the color, me know watch them thing. You see me angel. Some people want make it racial, but them no want see we together. Them nah no brain cell. Cause me no partial. Me walk any girl. Me mother grow me so you know say me color blind. International, foreign a local girl. From me see you, me know say you have to be mine. You know. 'Cause girl, it makes no difference. No, no. I just want you to know. Kevin Michael sing the rest.
Don't make any difference to me. Don't make a difference. Don't make a difference. What the world thinks about us, baby. What they think about us,
2. 1, 2. Guys, we just found this GPS. If someone has lost a Garmin and you need to prove that you have done 7,910 steps today, and it's yours. É um Garmin 920 XT.
Por acaso acho que é do Vitor. Eu tenho um igual.
Não, mas o dele está no bolso. Guys, there is a box there for the GPSs. Ahí está la caja para los GPS. Please, just put it there. We're just waiting for the last paddlers to come in so we can start the prize giving. Bruno Silva, estás aqui perto? Chega aqui à beira do pódio, por favor.